On this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to create your own business banking system. Without further ado, let's get right to it. Your business banking system starts with first understanding how compound interest works when it's uninterrupted. Imagine if you could have a savings or a checking account that was going to give you, let's call it 4% compound interest without any interruption, which means if you were going to put the money in the account, you're going to fund your checking or savings account, it's going to start growing 4% interest, but it's going to start compounding. So year over year, the interest earned is going to be added to the account balance, and it's going to then grow interest on top of interest. So it's going to compound. Number two, instead of a normal checking or savings account, which if you take money out of the account, then of course it's no longer in the account. And so it stops growing. It stops compounding. You immediately stop that because now that money is out of the account and you're going to go ahead and use it to pay for your business's expenses, your debts, bills, etc. But what if, imagine if that account, when you took it out, imagine if it actually stayed in the account, continued to grow compound interest, but you were able to spend it on the outside of the account at the same time. So that money will be growing compound interest and you'd be using it at the same time to pay for bills and expenses and debts. But that portion that you've taken out to pay for the expenses and the bills and the debts is now sitting in a separate account as a debt that you owe your savings account. But the savings or checking account that you drew from, it didn't actually leave that account. So it doesn't stop compounding. It doesn't stop growing. It continues to grow. There's no checking or savings account that's going to do that for you. Or is there? There actually is an account that does that. But before we get to that account, let's further understand the system. So step one is we need to fund our banking system. We need to fund our checking or savings account that is going to grow 4%. And again, I'm using 4% as a very conservative number. Compound interest, uninterrupted. So while you use the money on the outside, it continues to grow on the inside. Money's doing two things at the same time. Number one. Number two, we're then going to use that money and pay the bills, pay the expenses, pay the debts. Number three, when we receive revenue and income, we're going to recapitalize our bank account, the savings or checking account that's growing the compound interest. And we're going to pay that savings or checking account interest as if we were paying a bank interest on a loan. We're going to pay ourselves interest. You're going to pay interest to your bank. You're going to fund your bank. And when you need to pay expenses and bills again, you're going to take it right back out of the bank and you're going to pay those expenses and bills and debts. Now, eventually the debts are going to go away because you're going to pay off the debts. So now that income or revenue that was going towards the debts becomes cash flow. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that cash flow and we're going to replenish and recapitalize our bank. So we no longer have that loan out from the bank that we borrowed from, our own bank, and we recapitalize it. Now that account is going to continue to grow compounding interest. And if it continues to grow year over year for the rest of our lives, it's going to multiply. It's going to become 3, 4 times, 10 times greater than what we put into that account as we are funding that account. And all the debts and expenses that we use that account to pay, because we're going to recapitalize that account, we're going to turn those liabilities, which would be normally complete losses, we're going to turn them into assets. But just imagine if on top of all of this, that growth inside of this bank that you created, that growth, imagine if it was tax-free. You didn't have to pay any taxes on it. So you're thinking to yourself, This guy's crazy. He's just making stuff up here as he talks. No, I'm not. I guarantee you, there is an account that does this for you. Now, when I tell you what this account is, don't get mad, don't get suspicious, and don't hesitate or doubt, because this account has existed for over 200 years. And the wealthy, like the Rockefellers, and many, many multimillionaires and billionaires, and many celebrities and successful people today use this account to protect their money because it's also secure and protected from litigation, from lawsuits. Where if your money is in a normal savings account, checking account, it only serves one purpose. As soon as you take it out, you lost it. It's gone. You lose the value. You spent it. It's gone. Here, you can recapitalize it. Inside of a checking or savings account, it's vulnerable to a lawsuit or litigation, whether that's from a private lawsuit or from creditors or vendors or from the government. Inside of this account, inside your own banking system, your money is safe, it's secure, it's protected. And it's growing tax-free, compounding interest for the rest of your life. Your checking and savings account, it's not going to do that. What is this account? This account is a high cash value, properly designed, optimized whole life insurance policy with a participating, dividend-paying mutual insurance company, where 70 to 90% of your premium can be allocated towards the savings bucket, towards the account banking savings bucket, where you can leverage that and you can borrow against it to pay their bills, to pay the expenses and the debts. But at the same time, you've purchased a multi-million-dollar death benefit potentially, which protects everything and it wraps it up. Inside of this account, this is the only place where you can store money and it is tax-free growth and it's protected from litigation. And over time, as the money grows and compounds, the growth of the money outperforms the cost of the insurance to the point where it's going to be double, triple, quadruple the growth of the cost of the insurance. But at the same time, you can borrow against this policy and use it to pay your expenses, to pay your debts. And if you manage this properly, you're going to be able to recapitalize the cash value in your business banking system so that in your later years, when you become a senior and you want to take a step back and stop with the business and maybe just retire, you have an account in place that you can use as part of your retirement plan, as part of your retirement strategy. Potentially millions of dollars sitting inside of your cash value bucket that you can leverage and use in your retirement years. And remember, all that growth is tax-free inside of this policy. This is nothing new. It's been around for over 200 years. It's now more mainstream in the last 25 years. It's popularly called infinite banking or becoming your own bank. Well, I'm speaking to you, business owner. I want to help you set up your own business banking system where you can purchase the policy from the business as a key person policy. There's no other tool or vehicle that will grow with you as you grow. As your needs change, your use of it will change. In your early years, you can use it for expenses and debts. Later, you can use it for investments. And in your final years, in your senior years, you can use it as part of your retirement. And finally, when you pass away, you will have a death benefit, which is tax-free to the next generation. And if we structure this properly, it can be left to your trust and you create your own business or family trust that is going to be generational wealth and legacy, not just for your children, but for your children's children's children. If this video is of value to you, please feel free to reach out. Schedule a free clarity call. No obligation or commitment. I'm happy to run some scenarios with you and show you how your business banking system would work for your company so that you can recapitalize on your business expenses and debts and turn your liabilities into assets. Thanks for watching. God bless you and take good care.